My guest on the program this evening is the Minister for Government Services, Building Industry and ICT, Simon Finn. Simon, leaving school, going on to university, you have a BA in Social Science. You went on to work in welfare. Was that part of your plan fairly early, leaving school and moving it? You have a pretty fair idea of what you wanted to do at that stage? Yeah,
I grew up with a very strong community upbringing and instilled in me by my family. Yeah. But I sort of graduated from high school at one of those times where the free education was still around at university. I decided that I was going to take a path in the arts and then work out while I was at university where I really wanted to go. So I enrolled in a Bachelor of Arts in Social Science. I think initially I was interested in psychology, but as I studied the range of arts subjects, I developed a stronger interest in sociology and politics and those kinds of subjects. But it was a natural course for me to be in those human services or those arts kind of areas was where I felt most comfortable and where I and saw my future going.
Back in 1991, were you about mid-20s, 26, made the move to Queensland, to Townsville? Why the move?
I had an opportunity. I saw a job advertised at university in Townsville, James Cook University, working in their student services area. I, at the age of 26, thought, well, there was a job opportunity, there was something that I would enjoy doing.
You'd enjoyed student life and thought it might be a nice way to continue?
Yeah, it was a welfare role and a welfare and support role, so it was really about assisting people with their welfare needs at university. A diverse range of people come into universities as young people and have a particular set of welfare needs, and so I saw that as a progression of the work that I'd been doing or the fields I was interested in. But also at 26, you've still got a mind for a bit of adventure, and to shift from Melbourne to Townsville was a significant shift. It's a similar distance as shifting from London to Athens, and a big distance.
Was there as much of a culture shift as there would have been if you'd moved from London to Athens, do you think?
Very much so, I think. Where I was living...
Townsville, a military town, of course.
Yeah, where I was living in Victoria, I was living in the suburb of Footscray just before I shifted to Townsville. And Footscray's a very diverse community. In fact, the largest ethnic grouping in Footscray before I left was, or at the time of me leaving, was Yugoslav, who were about 8%, very closely followed by the Vietnamese, who were 7.5%. So, but when you think that the biggest two groupings only add up to 15 or so percent, it was very diverse. Whereas when I got to Townsville, it was a different community mix, a much stronger Indigenous community, military town, as you say, an administrative town, and a much smaller town as well. Compared to the city of Melbourne, so it was quite a shift, but one I'm really glad I made. It was there was differences in the cultural mix, but I also had an opportunity to spend some time living on Magnetic Island. So those opportunities rarely come to us, and so that was good too.
So why then the shift to politics? A lot of people, a lot of the ministers that I've spoken to have said that they focused on politics because they thought that it was an opportunity for them to help people, help their communities. You were already doing that.
Yeah, I was involved in in a welfare job. I had a community background. It was a natural thing, but I had an interest in politics as well. I sort of discovered that Labor Party politics at university, and there was a time where I thought, well, I really should be a bit more engaged in the political process. Here I am, somebody with an awareness of community, somebody with an interest in politics. I can read the newspapers and I can swear at the television and leave it at that, or I can actually try to get involved and say, what contribution can I make? So it was sort of that process in my mid-20s, or mid to late 20s, where I thought, I really should be involved. I'd had this sort of intense activity at university and then less of an activity and sort of came back in. So it it was a deliberate decision to re-engage in the political process. And it's a view I hold now. I think that not enough of our community engage in the political process at a party level, and I think it's a challenge for our political parties to be engaging as many people as they can. And that was me. I sort of decided deliberately to get back involved, and not with a view to becoming an elected representative, but with a view to participating in the process.
So how did you then make the transition from an ALP organiser to standing for election?
Yeah, well, I came to Brisbane from Townsville. I came to Brisbane to work with the party in a temporary capacity as an organiser in the 1998 election, and that
went well.
And Labor was re-elected, or was elected. Sorry, Labor was elected after a short period in opposition with a minority government or a one-seat majority at that stage, and that was the start of the Beattie years. And I then, whilst I'd come down on a temporary basis, I was then elected to an official's role in the party, where I spent a number of years involved in election campaigns and an organisational sense for the party. And as an elected official of the party, you organise the party's activities across Queensland, but you also engage in developing electoral strategy, servicing members as a membership-based organisation, that kind of work.
Enjoyed your time in politics up until now?
Yep.
It's very much an up and down occupation as such, if you wanted, but and you've really got to roll with the punches as well, don't you?
I think you do. You have to develop I think you have to develop a thick skin. But I think there's a few things. I think you have to like people to like politics.
Because you're going to see the good and the bad of people anyway.
Well, you have to be able to see the good in everyone.
Yeah.
You have to be able to sit with people who have had a different experience in life than you have, and be able to in some way engage with them to determine how you can best assist them. So I think you have to have an engagement with people, and you've got to like people to like politics.
Very much so. My guest on the program this evening is Simon Finn. Simon is the member for Yurong Pilly. My name is Shaun Bindley, and we'll be back after the break.